Hi there, welcome to 3Spoonies. We are your hosts, Claire, Joe, and Karen. This episode, number 25, is on invisible disabilities. Join us as we dive in.
At Grow Radio, we've launched and supported countless podcasts, and we'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and we'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released exactly when you want. We've helped business owners, coaches, creatives, and community leaders turn their ideas into professional podcasts. Whether you're sharing industry insights, telling incredible stories, or growing your brand, we make the process simple and stress-free. Want to learn more? Our workshops and courses will guide you through everything from planning to promotion. So, if you're ready to bring your podcast to life, let's chat. Message us on social media or reach out to Gary Jones, the founder of Grow Radio. We'd love to help you get started.
I'm Claire from Sparkle's Gift Boutique.
I'm Joe from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
And I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
And together we are 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. So this week we are discussing invisible disabilities. Joe, you're taking over on this one, so I'll hand over to you.
You were dying to do that, weren't you?
Yes. Did you tell?
I'm assuming that is related to your invisible disability of brain fogginess.
Yes.
We're all kind of expert on this topic because we all have invisible disabilities. I can't even talk, though mine is starting to become more visible, which weirds me out slightly. What should we start with? What would you class as an invisible disability? What would you class as your own? Are there some people wouldn't think of?
So mine is my fibromyalgia, the CFS, my new vitamin D deficiency that's all year round that I found out about. Yay me. Arthritis, you know. But I know from personal experience, ones people don't think about is autism is up there because people say to me, but Dylan doesn't look autistic. It's like, oh, we'll spend some time in a room with him and you'll definitely see it.
Yeah, it wouldn't even take long. He does not want to interact with you.
No, not him being rude. He just doesn't want to talk to you because he doesn't talk to anyone.
I mean, I've seen him interact with you, and like he'll say hello to you, but that's it. He's doing his own thing. He's fine. Let him do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, big ones are chronic migraines and long COVID. And I think the thing with invisible disabilities is it can be situational. Like it might be you only notice in specific situations, like someone might have to rush to the loo. And other than that, you might not have known. Or in my case, people generally wouldn't know I was having a migraine unless I started frowning or I started to turn even paler than I normally am. Like at one point, one of my friends said, "Oh, I can see your freckles. You must be really ill." It's like, yep. At that point, probably quite visible.
I used to have a thing with migraines that I would all of a sudden go super pale and look like I was about to either throw up or pass out. And people, "You all right?" It's like, "Yeah, I feel fine." And sort of I learned eventually that it's like, got about an hour before I need to be in a dark room curled up and I'm going to die for several hours. But yeah, for a few years, that was a pattern. It stopped as I got older, but that I always found that one really weird. Myself with invisible disabilities, diabetic, potential fibromyalgia, possibly CFS, who knows? And obviously some neurospiciness in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, we've all got a bit of that. I thought of anxiety as well.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Also, yes, the anxiety, depression.
When Karen said about like being out in social situations, I was like, oh, anxiety. It makes you want to hide in a hole and run away.
I mean, we've also recently had the conversation of when did you last leave the house? And I said, I don't know, because I don't go out because it hurts and you can't see pain unless someone's really in pain and they can't hide it. But at that point, they should probably be in hospital. I mean, you guys have seen me when I've done too much and I've just kind of flopped on a bed and been at you.
Yeah.
That's the technical term because I do go non-verbal, non-functional, and I need a good couple hours rest before I can actually talk to someone, never mind function.
Mm.
So yeah, between us, we have a host of invisible disabilities. I've got a friend who's got cystic fibrosis, and especially when we were teenagers, like she'd park in a disabled spot and people would give her the most dirty looks when she got out the car. So at one point she'd start dragging her leg behind her. What? Or she'd cough at people. Obviously, since COVID, that's not so good. But
No,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
she
mean,
did.
since COVID, I think that's even funnier. But that's me and my dark humour.
That is.
I'm not endorsing that people do that either, by the way, just for my entertainment.
No, and before I forget about it, Claire, tell us about the lanyards, because I know you use them.
Yes, so you've got the sunflower lanyards that you can wear. They're recognised kind of all over the world really now, and it's basically to say that you have an invisible disability, um, and they're really handy, especially when I go out with Dylan, because people are then aware instantly that there is something if they can't see it. And it just makes people be, it makes, I say it makes people be more understanding. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Some people are still ignorant, but it does make it easier for you to not have to sit and explain something. If you're going out for a day, say, Dylan likes to go to the zoo and the aquarium, people will recognize the lanyard straight away. And so if there's like a really big, it's handy for little things like if there's a really long queue that's like an hour wait, he can't handle stuff like that. I don't feel so bad going in and being like, oh, he's autistic, he can't handle the queue. They see the lanyard and they're just like, it's fine, don't worry.
Yeah.
So it takes the pressure
Mm.
off because I hate being that person that's like, oh, he's got this. And even though I can do it because he has it, I don't like to.
That's
Um,
something I've found. So, say if you're traveling and you sat in some like a priority seat, I've
yeah,
always felt guilty because obviously I don't look disabled, but there have been times, especially sort of in the most like last year or so, when either I'm on my own or Ben's with me, and Ben will make me sit in that seat. But I'm going, oh, but someone else sit. Um,
do as you're told.
yeah, you've been doing something. I know you can barely stand. You're in agony. Sit down. But yeah, I've always felt guilty because it's not obvious that I need it.
Yeah,
Especially as I'm only in my 30s, and it's like you should stand up for like people who are actually
that need it more. There's people that need it more than us, is
yeah,
what you're saying. I get that completely.
yeah. Whereas I may not be able to stand for that amount of time, but I will cling to something.
Oh, cling on for dear life.
Yeah, I assume that's something you guys have also felt because I think that's a universal thing with invisible disabilities.
I've taken to keeping a lanyard actually in my bag when I'm out. I don't use it all the time, but if I'm having a really bad pain day and I'm having all the spasms and just everything hurts and I can just about walk, I will wear it with pride because I don't care. I need to have the easiest seat I can find without someone having to go, oh, you shouldn't be sitting there.
Yeah.
I can sit here, leave me alone. It does make a difference. It is really handy. Even when we go on holiday, it's handy because people recognize it when you're out and at like airports and especially a lot of places in Europe, they recognize it as well.
Yeah.
So it
Mm.
does make life a lot easier.
Yeah, I think there's different attitudes in different parts of Europe as well. Like in France, we were over there when there was a petrol strike, and you could only get petrol if you worked for the emergency services or you had a disability. And like people didn't take the mick with it. They went, well, we don't, so we're not going to.
Yeah.
Or on the where there's blue badge parkings, the signs will say, if you take my space, you can take my disability as well. It's like they do not mess around.
I
I
like
like
Um,
that.
that.
it's like, and people don't question it because there's that sort of social attitude that, well, why would you take something that someone else would need? And I don't think we have that over here. So there's also that thing that I think over here it's very much like, oh, everyone's a scrounger, and
Yeah, I think a lot of people see it over here as like, oh, you're just using it for an excuse and
Yeah,
it's
they automatically assume you don't work, you're getting a lot in benefits, and you're probably faking because that is the British sentiment towards disability.
it really is, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks
I wouldn't.
to the tabloids.
yeah,
Yay! I mean, I wouldn't. When I have the really bad pain days, and you guys know how bad I've been recently, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't fake that for
Mm.
anything. I don't know. I miss the days when I used to go out and work like 60, 70 hours a week. Wouldn't want to do it now. Absolutely not. But I miss being able to do all the things that I could do before.
Mm.
And what I'm over 10 years of nearly 10 years in of being diagnosed, got a couple of years left, and I still beat myself up about things that I cannot do. Even like changing the bed and changing all the bedding and doing all that in one go absolutely knackers me.
Yeah,
Mm.
And I still feel awful that I can't do it properly. I can't be like, oh, I'm going to rearrange this room or give like the whole house a deep clean in one let go. Has to be done in stages.
yeah. I mean, every time Ben takes another job off me, I feel guilty around the house. I mean, this weekend is head shaving weekend because he wanted to do all the big jobs in like the first weekend of the month. And I'd say, no, we can't do that because I can't do that. It's like,
Yeah,
we're shaving your heads. That means I have to wash my hair, which is the once a month wash of hair. That's me done for the rest of the day. If I'm changing beds, that's a big job. That's all we're doing. And he does all the washing and drying. I'm literally helping him put it on.
yeah,
He also strips the bed. That's all I'm doing, but that's all I can do. But I still feel guilty because it's like we're a partnership. It's meant to be equal, and it's not. And despite the fact I earn more than he does, we know there's going to come a time when I can't do it, and we're
yeah,
both worried about that. I mean, I do have a plan for that, but it's getting there.
yeah. And I completely get that. Me and Ricky were talking probably over Christmas, well, going back as far as Christmas, maybe a little bit further, just about how long will my making things and being as active as I am be viable for? Definitely won't be up to retirement age because that would definitely kill me off.
Yeah.
Well, 68, no chance. If it is still 68 by the time we get there.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
still then. By then it'll probably be like in your 90s.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sort of strange thing to think about. Going, I'm not going to be able to continue doing this eventually, but because none of us have something with a sort of defined disease progression, and some would say it shouldn't progress, but we know it does. It's all up in the air. All you've got to do is plan to mitigate that.
Yeah,
I mean, we're recording this on the 1st of February, by the way. We have had a horrific January. And I
Mm.
have a feeling we always have a horrific January. We just forget by the next January.
Yeah, it could be true. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
I've had 11 months to get over the trauma.
yeah. So I know we've all really struggled. I actually lost a client through one of my associates because I wasn't responsive enough or as responsive as he needed me to be due to my health. And he knew it was due to my health. He says, no ill will, but I need someone who can get back to me and get stuff done quicker.
Yeah,
And while I was juggling, basically running around on fire, going, the entire month, dealing with what was urgent now, because I couldn't get to the point where, well, this needs doing and this needs doing, but nothing was ever urgent, which is the way I like it to be.
yeah. It's kind of like trying to keep ahead of yourself a bit without kind of feeling like you're spiraling.
Yeah,
So that if you do have those days where you're like, oh my God, I've got so much to do, this needs to get done, it is overwhelming, but it's not. I know it is just overwhelming. It's never not.
I actually had a client come and like send me a message, say sorry they hadn't been in touch. They were in the like shame cave because they'd been overwhelmed. I actually put back, that's fine, so have I. Because I had a couple of days, I had so much on. And all my brain was doing was just listing everything I needed to get done. And I then couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
And it's awful because then you're even further behind.
Mm.
And when I eventually got out of that, I said, right, I'm going to take it one task at a time. And I've been able to do that. But as I say, for the entire month, I managed one day on what I'd consider a full day's work. And that really makes me feel guilty.
it's quite kind of just disheartening to yourself as well that a whole month's been like that and you can't do more than that.
Yeah, and you can't do anything about it. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah, especially when you lose entire days to, nope, I am not leaving bed
Mm.
because I can't. And it's obviously because people don't see that.
It's also that professional thing as well. Got to put on a brave face and
Yeah, I don't do that. I send emails going, I'm struggling. It'll be done when I get to it because
Mm.
I've learned not to.
I think that's why a lot of disabilities are invisible, though, because people try and downplay things. Or it's like there was a point when I was okay at work, but I would go home and sleep, and then I'd sleep all weekend, and then I'd go back to work. That was literally my entire life. And it's like, oh, well, you can do work. And it's like, but literally nothing else.
Yeah,
And
this,
yeah, that's not what you
That's not
want.
life.
no,
And yeah, certainly within some cultures as well, it's asking for any sort of accommodation, no matter how reasonable, is seen as a sign of weakness, or people go, oh, well, what's that about? Or some places are just less supportive than others. Or on the other hand, there's that thing if you've got something that's quite rare, or you might be the only person someone's come across who has that, or that they know has it. And people go, oh, well, my cousin Jeff has got autism and he's like this, so you're lying because you're not like that. And it's like, oh,
yeah, anymore you go
oh,
through different severities, stages, and people respond in different ways, and you don't see people all the time. I keep
mm,
a meme on Facebook from Dear Fibromyalgia, which is you only see the hour I'm out, you don't see the days around it.
Mm. Yeah, I know a big thing, but as I was getting diagnosed, a lot of people, like, I'd go to work and I'd do some of the social things, and then I'd have things I'd cancel because I couldn't do it. And they're like, oh, but you've done this and you've done this. And I'm like, but when I'm at home, I'm literally just passed out on my sofa. I don't have the energy to do anything.
Yeah,
mm,
Like, I was in bed by like 7 o'clock at night till whatever time the next morning because I couldn't move.
yeah, that's what
And
I've got this month as well. It's like I've been in bed early, I've been getting up late, or I've been getting up for a few hours in the middle of the night going, come on, brain, let's get focused, let's do some stuff. And I'll play with Jules. I can't even play a proper game.
mm. Yeah, I've not been able to play a proper game for ages, which is so annoying because so many of my favourite games have been remastered over the last few months. And it's like, oh, are you kidding me? Because there was like Silent Hill 2 and there was Until Dawn, which was terrible, but that's by the by. And Soul Reaver and Clock Tower all came out, and my attention span is like that.
Yeah.
Like,
And so
it's
most of my games are
upsetting.
very relaxing and very zen and like, but it's still too much brain power to think about whatever is the goal. Right, just collect these little pretty coloured things. All is good. But then I also feel like I'm wasting the time because I'm a workaholic. I always have been a workaholic, and it annoys me that I can't get stuff done that I want to. I mean, I'm not great at housework. I don't like it.
does anyone?
I mean, some people do. Some people like cleaning and they become cleaners and be amazing. But I'm not one of those people. But it's something I still did. And it annoys me that I can't do that anymore. And last weekend was an event at a LARP that I used to really enjoy. And seeing people talk about it afterwards made me a little bit sad that I can't do it anymore. And then there's people asking the group of us that went, is anyone coming back? And just let me know. And it's like, I want to say yes. I so desperately want to say yes, but I know I can't do it.
But your body says no. Like brain's like, yes, let's do this fun thing.
Yeah,
Your body's like, how dare you?
yeah, absolutely. And people just don't see that bit. I mean, we are attending an event at the end of this month, and I'm aware it's going to break all three of us. That's
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully not as much as last year because
Yes.
we're not on one day this time. But it's still that consideration. You have to plan around it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was also and get the value out of it. Because what I don't want to do is like last year, I feel like I didn't get the full value out of it because I was so tired and in loads of pain. So this time it's like I don't want to miss the opportunity.
Yeah, I'd agree. I felt last year we really didn't. I mean, I was on codeine by 10 o'clock, and by 12, I wanted to go to bed. And I just wanted to curl into a little ball and cry. I was in so much pain and I was so tired. But yeah, at that point, something I find difficult anyway, which is socializing, then becomes even harder. But yeah, this year we're doing it better. We're staying over the night before, so I hope, and me and Karen are staying over the night after.
I wish I was. I've got to be social the day after. It's going to be so hard. And I've got a full day.
Oh no. Timings are bad.
They are.
Yeah, I do think it would be good if we had some sort of color-coded thing. Like after COVID, a lot of networking events had bands in red, yellow, or green, depending on how comfortable you are with getting close to people. And I think it would be great if that was an everyday thing. If you just had it covering all sorts of things. So like, I am feeling dreadful today, I'm feeling all right. And because then you haven't got that
I have
invisible
problems.
element.
Please talk to me.
Yes, yeah, on the other end as well. That can be a thing as well, because sometimes if you're inside, like you said, and you just feel it sometimes, don't you? Absolutely. And yeah, if we could do that, it's like there was a weird thing when I worked at the college that was inadvertently became like the sunflower lanyards, and some people did have the sunflower lanyard. But what would often happen is if you forgot your lanyard, you got a replacement one, and they made them bright pink because a lot of people who forgot their lanyards would then forget to give their lanyard back and accidentally take them home. And if you looked at the overlap between students who regularly forgot their lanyards and students with ADHD, basically that bright pink lanyard became, I have ADHD. So a lot of the tutors would start to go, okay, it could be you just forgot it or it was in another coat pocket, but chances are if you keep wearing that, you probably have ADHD. So it wasn't planned, it wasn't put in place, but people would go, oh, okay, I'll take that into account when I'm interacting with this student. So absolutely wasn't planned, but it was like, actually, yeah, that sort of works.
Makes a lot of sense. Should we take a break?
I was just about to say we should take a little break, and it is time for some spoonful of loveliness, which is loads of great things from our sponsors.
Are you ready to indulge in a treat that's as delightful to look at as it is to eat? Welcome to Marzipan Artisan, where Claire crafts her marzipan sweets into cute and whimsical shapes right in the heart of Norfolk. From traditional fruit and veg designs to bumblebees, miniature cakes, and even personalised messages, each sweet is a masterpiece in your mouth. Experience the magic of handcrafted confections with Marzipan Artisan, where every bite tells a story. Running a business with ADHD is no joke. Maddie Alexander Grout knows that firsthand. After years of battling distraction, burnout, and trying to fit into systems that just didn't work, she built a successful business on her terms. Now she helps other ADHD entrepreneurs do the same. Her coaching isn't about rigid structures or unrealistic advice. It's about finding strategies that actually work for neurodivergent brains. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and want practical no BS support from someone who gets it, connect with Maddie on Instagram at Maddie Talks Money.
Okay, so we are back. We are talking all things hidden disabilities. We've actually covered quite a lot. So I'm going to flip it a little bit. What do you find that you wish people knew more about hidden disabilities?
Mostly that they exist.
I mean, that's a good one, yeah.
Mm.
And yet,
Um,
can't see what's going on the inside. And if someone's sat in a seat you don't think they should be, or doing like parking in a spot you don't think they should be, especially if they've got a blue badge, they've got it for a reason, or they're
Mm.
wearing a lanyard, or just ask them if they're okay. Just don't demand to know what their disability is, because you're not allowed that info, you're not entitled to that information. If people don't want to share, don't harass people.
Well, I think it slightly depends on the circumstances. Like, there have been some things that have been positive for a lot of people, like Asda's do a a quiet shopping hour when they'll have the lights turned lower and they won't have music on. And it's designed for people who are on the spectrum, but there's a lot of other people who are like, actually, I prefer shopping in those hours. And it's like they don't check people's papers at the door or anything. It's like, if you find it helpful, come on in, as long as you're going to be respectful of that for other people. Or cinema screenings as well, and that can help people with migraines. It could be if you're hearing sensitive, sometimes the sound in cinema is too loud and it gets tinny and echoey and awful. sort of things like that, if it can accommodate lots of different people, it's like, well, put that on as an accommodation if it's potentially helpful, or like in a large workplace, if there's like a chill out room, rather than saying who'd like a chill out room, saying, well, we're going to put it on as an accommodation to see if it is useful for people. And obviously talk to your staff. Don't put things on that are completely random on the off chance. But if there's things that could help a lot of people in specific situations, which it might not be a disability, it might not be a condition, it might be a bad day, and if that person was helped by it, I'm all for it, because there's a lot of accommodations that would help lots of people. Although then there's those people might have contradictory things, like someone might like a bright light because that can help them see more clearly, and someone else might have migraines and go, oh, please turn that light off. Then that can be a bit of an issue. But often there's things we can do that help pretty much everyone. It's like, why not do that and put that in place? Like, no one's helped by a weird random step in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's kind of a conversation that I keep having with Ben, because I'd like a standard lamp in the living room, because then when I'm watching TV or I just sat reading, or not at the computer because it doesn't really work with a computer, I can have a lower light. But he's always usually on the computer, so he likes big bright lights. So we kind of have this, like, why do you want a lamp? It's like, because I don't want to sit in the dark, watch TV, especially after he's gone to bed. But I'd like to sit in a lower light environment. It's like if I am working from bed, or at the moment doing my course from bed, which I found really helped this week to do the entire thing from bed, I've just got my lamp on. So it's a darker environment. I can be comfortable without going, oh God, there's lights, because usually by that time of the day, I can't deal with light.
Yeah.
Dimmable lights for the win, absolutely. Yeah, I think I would have had literally half the number of sick days when I was at work if they replaced the fluorescent light with a dimmable light.
That would be nice. I was going to kind of tie into like what helps you like manage your get the words out, invisible disability. I think Joe's already touched on like a lamp, a dimming lamp,
Yeah.
because I have one in here and in the bedroom, and it makes such a difference. It's really handy.
Well, I think there's lots of handy products out there. I don't know if they're still a thing because I don't watch live TV, but you know, they used to have those infomercials for various handy gadgets, and you were like, why was that handy? Like things like the Snuggie, the blanket with the sleeves, was clearly designed for wheelchair users, but they didn't want to say that. So they showed all these people at American football game in these Snuggies going, way, football. And there were all these things like that. As I said, they're clearly designed for specific things, but they don't want to say that or create
Yeah.
stigma or something. So there's
Like
loads out there, but you don't
oh,
necessarily know it's out there.
yeah, it's like the shower foot brush that's clearly made for someone who can't
Yeah.
sit down, and not reach their feet. But it's like, oh, I always thought, oh, it's pretty cool, but I wonder why. But yeah, it's clearly for someone with disabilities, but they never say that.
I think nowadays, given how it's trying to get people to understand it more, I feel like there should be more disability friendly advertising, because why not? We all suffer with different things, even for people that have visible disabilities. Do advertising marketed at them properly?
Yeah, alt text on your image just beeps.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many easy things or things that have been introduced and we've not noticed the difference. There's been no downside to it, but it's helped lots of people. And I think that's the thing. You can't help every person out there if you don't know what help they need. But if there's things in place, and I think also an offer of support. So I've seen things like different coloured shopping baskets depending on whether you want to be left alone or whether you'd like a bit of help. And it doesn't specify what that help might be, but that might be, can you reach that from the top shelf? Or can you help read these instructions to me on the bottle because it's really small? Or on the other hand, please leave me alone. Please don't talk to me, please.
That's quite a good idea, actually. It's different. And it's not, you don't have to kind of feel uncomfortable to go and find someone to ask.
Yeah, that's another thing. And it's something that someone could see from a distance and say, okay, I'll offer to help. You might not want it, but the offer's there. And then it's not too specific as well. If it's somewhere where lots of different people are coming through, then it's an open offer. And yeah, I think there needs to be more of that and make it genuine as well. Like some places will have in the small print, oh, we'll accommodate everyone and whatever else, but it would have taken you like 5 years to find that information. If it's just
Yeah,
open, like if it's in reception, there's a sign that says, just let us know if there's anything we can do to help. And or if there's specific issues people might have, put that in place. Or if there's been an issue in the past, look at how to make it less of an issue or warn people. 'Cause I think sometimes giving people information as well. Like for one of my friends, before she goes anywhere, she wants to know, where are the toilets? Are they accessible? And
Is the venue itself where we're going accessible? As we talked last season with Amber, a lot of places aren't, and even if they think they are, they're not.
yes, that's the worst thing when people go, oh yeah, it's all accessible, and it's clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people who are wheelchair users on Instagram, and they will go like show you what an accessible place looks like and how it really isn't, especially if they're wheelchair users.
Yeah, like tables too close together, or like there's a slope, but it's really steep or slippery, or like the accessible toilets being used for storage, or there's all sorts of things. It's like, yes, in theory, but, and also it depends what people need. I mean, it's like in terms of allergies, are things kept separately? And
Food.
something could be physically accessible, but if you can't eat the food there, it's not actually of any use.
Yeah, Claire knows about that one.
I was just about to
Mm.
say, oh, I know this. Yeah, we went to charity gala back in last November, and the joys of being gluten free. Asked for the gluten free menu, they didn't have one.
I
They were like,
didn't
here's
know
our.
what it was.
They gave me their allergy sheets, and I could have chips. And
And they were
this was
crap.
a hotel.
Or places that will lie to you. I had that a lot back in the day. Oh, there's no onions in it. What's that thing that looks like onion? Oh, well, yeah, there's that onion.
That's an onion, but no, it baffled me. All I could have was chips, cheese, and something else. I think cheese and chicken. Obviously, I can't remember what I had on them. And I was like, well, since you don't cater for anything that I need, can I order something in and just put it on a plate so that I can eat with everyone else? And it was like, no, but you're not actually providing for everyone. That it's not like I'm doing it by choice. Believe me, I love bread, I love pasta. I hate giving these things up, but it's not worth eating them because of the effect it has on my body. I'm not
Mm.
doing it by choice.
Yeah, a lot of people think any sort of allergy or disability is a choice. But it's like, oh, you're just being awkward. No, these are generally things that affect your life.
Yeah, or like with some medications, like grapefruit can become toxic,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
people
didn't
go,
know
"Oh,
that.
well, it's just grapefruit," and it's like, "Well, yes, but," or someone's diabetic and they need to eat now.
I've been there because I struggle with food and I don't like to eat when I've just got up, and unless I'm away somewhere, it can take me all day to eat. But that also has the problem of I am a diabetic and I should eat regularly. And yet there is a time when I've left it too long, and like Ben's had to feed me now.
Yeah, I think sometimes a little bit of understanding or seeing that if someone's in a panic, maybe they're not being irrational, maybe they need that thing. And
Support and just, I think was it years ago, like I think it was lockdown time, and like, everyone's like, oh, be kind. And it's like there was like a year everyone like, oh, be kind, you don't know what people are going through. And it's like, well, don't do it just for the year, do it all year round. Keep it going.
yeah, that, and I think a bit of openness as well, if we're willing to start conversations, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be these are all the things I can't do, which is always kind of upsetting, even when you've come to terms with it. If it can be these are things that would help me. And it maybe there's someone else who says, actually, yeah, that would help me as well. Like we'd have these really long meetings and we'd never have any idea what we were discussing in advance. So at one point I said, look, could we get an agenda in advance just so we know what we're discussing and we can have a think about things? Because otherwise sometimes it's like there was this big decision and we hadn't even considered it before. So I said, please, could we get the agenda in advance and can we have that in front of us? And a few others said, I'm really glad you said that actually, because I've had an issue with that. And I think once people start asking for things, and again, that's completely reasonable to know what you're going to do before you're going to do it. It makes it easier for everyone. It's the first person through the door, might have to ask a few extra questions, but once people are asking those questions and a bit more open and honest about things, it is really helpful. And also, it can be for a venue or a manager or someone else, once you know which questions to ask as well. Because there may be things you've never considered, but it might be if, say, 3 people come to you in a month with the same problem, it's like, okay, maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's something to be addressed in future. Because that's the thing, you don't know who's out there. You don't know what they need. You don't know what's going on or what's come together on that particular day to cause this huge problem. So it's taking note of what's happened before and just, as I said, just asking those questions and being prepared to answer them. And it's also okay to say, I'm not sure, I'll check.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to be put on the spot. It's okay to not put someone else on the spot. Take it one step at a time, say if you don't know, and come back to people. Well, I think we should wrap this one up here because I think we've covered a lot.
We could go on for hours as well.
We could, yeah.
But yeah, so Claire, I will pass back over to you to wrap us up.
Yay. So thank you for joining us, 3Spoonies, on our episode of Invisible Disabilities. We would love to know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for our weekly podcast, and you can leave us a review. You can find us on social media, and we would love it if you could join us in the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs Facebook group. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. All of the links for today's show will be in the show notes, and we will see you next week for our community questions. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.